They slapped the Deathworld girl. She removed their teeth. One by one, the Galactic Council's pristine halls had never witnessed such silence. Where once the melodic chittering of the Zephyrian delegates and the harmonic humming of the crystalline assembly filled the air, now only the soft whisper of recycled atmosphere remained. All eyes compound, multifaceted, an energy-based focus on the small figure standing in the center of the debate floor. Maya-chan stood barely 5 feet tall, her olive skin bearing the telltale scars that marked her as a survivor of Earth's brutal surface. The thin white line across her left cheek spoke of a childhood encounter with one of Terra's harmless house cats. The callous hands folded calmly behind her back had once torn apart a malfunctioning gravity drive with nothing but basic tools and determination. To the gathered representatives of 47 civilized worlds, she looked fragile, almost breakable. They had no idea what they were dealing with. "The human colony request is denied," Grand Arbiter Vextol announced, his crystalline form pulsing with satisfied blue light. "The Kepler 442b system is reserved for civilized species only. Deathworlders have no place among peaceful galactic citizens." A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly. The fox-like Volpari yipped their approval, while the ethereal wisps flickered in harmonious patterns. Maya remained perfectly still, her dark eyes fixed on the Grand Arbiter with an intensity that made several nearby delegates shift uncomfortably. "Furthermore," Vexto continued, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority, "this primitive specimen's presence here is itself an insult to this august body. Guards, remove this creature from our sight." The slap came without warning. Counselor Vekman of the Hegemony, a 7-foot-tall insectoid with razor-sharp mandibles, had moved faster than most eyes could follow. His primary manipulator arm struck Maya across the face with enough force to send a civilized being to the medical bay. The crack echoed through the silent chamber like a gunshot. Maya's head snapped to the side. A thin trickle of blood ran from the corner of her mouth. For a moment that stretched into eternity, she remained frozen in that position. Then, slowly, deliberately, she turned back to face the assembly. She was smiling. "Thank you," Maya said quietly, wiping the blood with the back of her hand. "I was wondering when someone would give me legal justification under Galactic Law Article 847, Personal Defense Protocol." The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Grand Arbiter Vextil's blue glow flickered uncertainly. "What? Are you talking about primitive?" Maya's smile widened, revealing teeth that seemed far too sharp for a supposedly civilized species. Article 847 clearly states that any unprovoked physical assault against a diplomatic representative grants the victim the right to proportional response. I believe the exact wording is ... double quotes. She paused, as if consulting an internal database. "The offended party may extract equivalent compensation through any means deemed appropriate by their cultural standards." Preposterous! Vekman clicked his mandibles aggressively. What could a Deathworld savage possibly do to a superior being like myself? Maya tilted her head, studying the insectoid with the same casual interest a biologist might show a particularly fascinating specimen. On Earth, we have a saying, "Don't start fights you can't finish." Would you like to know what my cultural standards consider appropriate compensation for assault? Before anyone could respond, Maya moved. What happened next would be analyzed in military academies across the galaxy for decades to come. Maya didn't simply attack, she orchestrated a symphony of calculated violence that demonstrated exactly why humans had earned their reputation as the galaxy's most feared Deathworlders. She vaulted over the safety barrier with fluid grace, covering the 15-foot distance to Vekman in less than 2 seconds. The insectoid's superior reflexes, honed by millions of years of evolution, proved utterly inadequate against a predator species that had climbed to the top of the food chain on a world where everything was trying to kill everything else. Maya's first strike targeted the nerve cluster behind Vekman's left mandible, temporarily paralyzing his primary weapon. Her second, delivered with surgical precision, damaged the joint connecting his manipulator onto his thorax. The third strike was purely educational, a demonstration of human knowledge of anatomy that left the 7-foot warrior writhing on the polished floor. Tooth number 1, Maya announced calmly, holding up a fragment of Vecmon's shattered mandible. You have 47 more. This might take a while. Chaos erupted in the assembly. Security forces rushed forward, only to discover that their non-lethal restraint systems, designed for civilized beings who valued their own safety, were laughably inadequate against someone who had spent her childhood dodging venomous snakes and her adolescence boxing with creatures that could bench press a hovercar. Maya danced between the guards like a force of nature, never dealing permanent damage, but making it abundantly clear that she could have. Each movement was a lesson in efficiency, each strike a masterclass in applied violence. When Guard Captain Zilfax tried to flank her, Maya used his own momentum to send him sliding across the floor into a group of crystalline delegates who shattered into 1,000 glittering pieces before reforming with distinctly rattled harmonic frequencies. Tooth number 7, Maya called out cheerfully, adding another fragment to her growing collection. Vecmon's struggles had grown significantly weaker. Stop this madness. Grand Arbiter Vextel pulsed desperate red patterns. We yield. We yield. Maya paused, one foot resting lightly on Vecmon's thorax, a shard of mandible poised between her fingers. I'm sorry. Did you say something? I was focused on my cultural obligations. We have 40 teeth to go. The colony rights. Vextel's crystalline form blazed with panic. Kepler 442b is yours. Full terraforming rights. Anything you want. Maya considered this, her head tilted thoughtfully. Around the chamber, delegates held their collective breath. Full voting rights in the Galactic Council as well. And a formal apology for the primitive and savage comments. Agreed. Agreed. With a casual flick of her wrist, Maya added tooth number 8 to her collection before stepping back. Vecmon curled into a protective ball, his remaining mandibles chattering with what sounded suspiciously like whimpering. Excellent, Maya sighed, brushing dust from her diplomatic jacket. I'll expect the paperwork within 48 standard hours. Oh, and Counselor Vecmon? She crouched down next to the traumatized insectoid. Next time you're tempted to hit someone from a Deathworld, remember, we didn't get to the top of our food chain by playing nice. As Maya walked calmly toward the exit, delegates scrambled out of her path like minnows fleeing a shark. Behind her, Vecmon continued his soft chittering, occasionally punctuated by the sound of him spitting out fragments of his own dental structure. The Galactic Council had learned an important lesson that day. There was a significant difference between primitive and harmless. Humans, it turned out, were very definitely the former and absolutely not the latter. And Maya Chin, daughter of Earth and diplomatic representative of humanity's expanding colonial efforts, had just secured humanity's first foothold in the wider galaxy one tooth at a time.